Hi, and welcome to week 3 of EDC 516. This week, we're going to be exploring approaches and methods for language education. We'll begin by reading an article, a chapter by Herrera and Murray, where they frame approaches and methods by distinguishing between approach, method, strategy, and technique. So distinguishing between some of this terminology that's often used to talk about language instruction. And so you'll see that they define approach as kind of a philosophical orientation to instruction. Method is a series or a body of strategies and techniques that are connected to that philosophy. Strategy is a collection of related techniques. And then technique is the smallest of the four, which is the specific action that is used to achieve a strategic objective with your students. So that just provides some framing of how we think about the difference between approaches and methods. I will not be assessing you here or elsewhere of your understanding of the distinction between these terms, but I just wanted to provide this overarching framework as a way for you to begin to think about these concepts here. The bulk of our learning this week will be engaging with learning around the 16 most common methods and approaches for supporting students learning a new language. I should note that many of these were developed for foreign or world language instructional contexts, although many of them have also been now adapted for TESOL settings or for settings working with multilingual learners. And the goal for this week and for this body of knowledge that you're engaging with is not for you to know every single detail of each of these methods. I do not expect you to read every word of every source that I'm linking for these methods and approaches. Really, the goal is for you to gain a basic understanding of what each approach or method is, including the pros and cons of each method or approach. As students who are being trained to in TESOL, it's important that you have an understanding of what these methods are. And many of them are historical methods that have been around for many decades. Some are still commonly used today, some are not. And so it just gives you a breadth of understanding for this field. But I also want you to have a deeper understanding of how theory and research have shaped language education methods over time. So thinking back to the learning we did last week around different theories and research on second language acquisition, I want you to make some of those connections. Where do you see those theories enacted through some of these different approaches and methods that you're learning about? And finally, I'd like you to be able to identify at least one pedagogical strategy for how you might implement each approach or method with students. So you'll see as you scroll down for this week's page, there are many 2 to 3 sources linked for each of the methods or approaches. So you'll have a chance to learn about those. Just like with last week, to help you organize your learning, I have created a note catcher where you can jot down your understanding of each of these methods. That I did the first one for you. I still would like you to engage with the learning around grammar translation, but I wanted to provide you with a model for what I'm looking for in terms of the knowledge you're gathering for each method. And then note this note catcher is not just for you to use in this course. You are welcome to use it for the quiz you're taking this week, but it's also designed to be a scaffold for those of you who are in the TESOL Master's or Certification Program and will be taking the ESOL Praxis test. I know some of you have taken it already, but if you haven't, these methods and approaches are incorporated into the ESOL Praxis, and so it's a good study guide for you before taking that test, just as a refresher of what these different approaches are. So that brings us to discussing and applying. So the first application assignment for this week is the quiz on theories, methods, and approaches. You'll see a range of questions focused on both theories and the methods and approaches you're learning about for this week. Many of these questions have been taken directly from praxis tests, so you can kind of get a sense for the way in which the questions will be worded on the praxis. And you'll see questions as well about some of the theories we learned last week. This is open note. You can take this quiz as many times as you want. It's not meant to be kind of a gotcha assessment. It's just meant as a form of self-assessment for you to see what you've learned so far in this course as you've been engaging with theories, methods, and approaches, and as a way to kind of support your knowledge development in this area. And then finally, we have the discussion board. So for that, please upload your note catcher just like you did last week, and then respond to the questions in the prompt. initial post due by Sunday, responses to 2 classmates due by Tuesday. And as a final reminder, please continue to work to make progress on your major paper based on the plan that you've established for yourself or that you've discussed with me. It's important to continue to kind of work on these larger projects throughout the semester, so you don't wait until the end and have to do a lot of reading or a lot of research and analysis at the end of the semester when other things are also coming due. So begin to make some progress on that if you haven't already. All right, so I look forward to engaging with you on the discussion board and hope you enjoy this week.